The company that filed to go public this week also urged the whole industry to hit the brakes. That's not a typo.
Yeah, it's definitely been a wild few days.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. You're looking at the week of June 1st through the 6th, 2026. And honestly, if you're trying to figure out where AI is heading right now, you are looking at an industry with the massive split personality.
Right, completely fractured.
Yeah, we've got this gas pedal camp basically screaming to build faster, deploy local networks, put an AI agent on literally every piece of hardware you own.
Put it on everything, yeah.
Exactly. And then on the flip side, we have a brake camp demanding an immediate coordinated pause.
The whiplash for anyone paying attention is just incredibly real right now.
Oh, totally.
And what makes this particular week so unprecedented is that you have the exact same company pushing the gas pedal to the absolute floor while simultaneously pulling the emergency brake.
Right. So today we are taking your stack of sources and we've got a wild mix here. Official corporate keynotes from Microsoft and Google, some highly sensitive leaked internal memos from Meta.
Which are fascinating, by the way.
We will get to those for sure. Plus, live betting market data and a frankly chilling warning letter sent directly to Congress. We're going to extract the actual signal from all this noise. Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start with Anthropic, right? Because they just pulled off what might be the most contradictory PR week in Silicon Valley history.
It was a masterclass in sending mixed signals. I mean, if we break down their timeline on June 1st, Anthropic files a confidential IPO.
Right.
And the target valuation they are whispering about is in the neighborhood of $1 trillion.
A trillion. With a T.
Exactly. And notably, this move beats OpenAI to the public markets. That is, by definition, financial acceleration.
Yeah, pure gas pedal. They're signaling to investors, hey, we are the undisputed leader. But then, and this is where it gets crazy, they immediately followed that up with a massive capability flex.
Project Glasswing.
Right, Project Glasswing. They expanded the cybersecurity initiative to 150 organizations. Now, I saw the headline number. They claim their model found over 10,000 critical security holes. But, I mean, put that 10,000 number in perspective for me. Is that actually a leap forward? Or is it just, a big sounding number for the press release?
Oh, no, it is a massive leap. To give you the context on why the whole industry basically paused when they saw that metric Cloudflare is a titan in web security. Right?
Yeah, just...
Their internal systems recently found about 2,000 critical bugs, and Mozilla just celebrated patching 271 bugs in Firefox.
Wow. Okay, 200 versus 10,000.
Right. So for Anthropic's AI to autonomously hunt down and identify 10,000 vulnerabilities across a fragmented network of 150 different companies, I mean, you're looking at a completely different scale of capability. It's essentially an army of top-tier security engineers working at the speed of compute.
But then, just a few days later, June 4th arrives, and the tone violently shifts.
Yeah, the essay.
Right, Anthropic releases an essay titled, When AI Builds Itself. And Jack Clark, one of their co-founders, goes on the BBC and drops a quote that honestly perfectly summarizes the anxiety at the moment. He says, the industry has a gas pedal, but no brake pedal.
And the underlying reason for that essay is the revelation that 80% of Anthropic's code is now being written by their own AI.
Wait, I need to stop right here, because I'm genuinely lost in the mechanics of that.
Sure.
If the AI is writing 80% of its own underlying code base, how does it not just, hallucinate itself into a completely broken state?
That is the crucial technical question.
Right.
Because when human engineers write code, they run it through a compiler, they test it, they look for logical errors.
Right, there's a whole QA process.
Exactly. When Anthropic says the AI is writing 80% of the code, what they mean is they've built a recursive self-improvement loop with automated constraint testing. Think of it, it's like building a bridge while you're driving across it. But the car itself is generating the blueprints, welding the steel, and stress testing the concrete milliseconds before the tires touch it.
That sounds terrifying.
Well, the AI generates the code, right?
Wow.
And then a secondary sandbox environment instantly runs millions of simulated tests against that code to ensure it doesn't break any core functions. And if it passes, it gets integrated.
So it's not just guessing. It's proving its own math before it implements the update.
Precisely. And that is why we have crossed a threshold here. The system is optimizing itself faster than human engineers can physically read the output.
Okay, I hear the technical achievement there. It's incredible. But I have to push back hard on this whole we need a brake pedal narrative.
Okay, let's hear it.
Because, honestly, isn't this just like a billionaire pulling up the ladder behind them?
Huh.
I mean, think about it. You file for a $1 trillion IPO, you prove your AI is vastly superior at security, you boast that it writes its own code, and then you turn around and tell Congress, hey, this is getting really dangerous, everyone else needs to slow down.
Yeah.
It looks incredibly calculated. It's textbook regulatory capture. You use fear to trigger compliance laws that only a $1 trillion giant can afford, which effectively suffocates your smaller open source rivals.
Yeah. I mean, that is the dominant critique right now. Even a White House advisor recently called out fear-based strategies in this exact space.
Right.
It is a highly convenient time for Anthropic to ask for a pause, I'll grant you that. However, we cannot let the cynical view completely blind us to the mechanical reality.
Which is?
A self-replicating, self-coding intelligence is a fundamentally new paradigm. The safety concerns of a system that modifies its own architecture, they are objectively real, regardless of the corporate motivations behind pointing them out.
So for the listener who is, say, managing an engineering team right now or trying to map out a business strategy for the next year, what is the actual takeaway here? Do they halt their projects?
No, absolutely not. You do not freeze your planning based on a think piece.
Yeah.
A global pause in AI development is only a reality if OpenAI, Google, and xAI all sign on the dotted line.
And they haven't.
They have not. The actionable signal you need to watch for is a joint verification protocol.
Okay, what's that?
If you see an announcement where these major labs agree to mutually open their black boxes and audit each other's models, then the brakes are actually being applied. Until that protocol exists, Anthropic's essay is just philosophy, not industry policy.
Got it. Okay, well, while Anthropic is busy warning the world about software that is verifiably writing itself, the rest of the tech ecosystem is pouring millions of dollars into a completely different panic.
Oh, yes.
A model that officially doesn't even exist. Let's talk about the Phantom of GPT-5.6.
What's fascinating here is how the industry's appetite for advancement has completely outpaced its patience for actual product releases.
It's pure hype.
It is. Millions of dollars are sitting in prediction markets right now, betting on the release date and the capabilities of GPT-5.6.
People are treating it like a confirmed impending launch. But the sources are clear on the actual facts. OpenAI has not announced it. There is no API access. And more importantly, there is no system card. For those unfamiliar, a system card is essentially like the FDA nutrition label and safety test for an AI model. It details how the model was trained, its biases, safety rails, all of that.
Exactly.
OpenAI publishes one for every major release. There is no system card for 5.6. The absolute latest confirmed model from them is GPT 5.5, which dropped back in April.
The entire frenzy stems from a fleeting internal leak. A log entry labeled GPT 5.6 basically just appeared in the back end of their codex tool and then vanished.
Just a blip.
Yeah. In software development, that is the hallmark of internal A/B testing or a fragmented shadow build. It is not a guarantee of a feature set or an impending public launch.
But the leaks are promising massive architectural shifts. I mean, they're claiming a 1 million token context window. That sounds like a buzzword, but how does jumping to 1 million tokens actually change what the AI can do?
So a context window is essentially the model's short-term working memory. Think of previous models like a reader who can only hold one chapter of a book in their head at a time. If you ask them how chapter 1 connects to chapter 10, they struggle. A 1 million token context window means the AI can read the entire Harry Potter series front to back in one breath.
Wow.
Hold every single character arc, spell, and subplot in its active memory, and instantly answer a highly specific question that requires cross-referencing book 1 with book 7.
That's insane.
It allows for the analysis of massive unstructured data sets, like a company's entire 10-year financial history, in a single prompt.
Okay, that is an incredible capability. But again, it's a elite capability of a phantom model. So here is the hard strategic rule for developers listening.
Yeah.
Never bind your API calls to a generic latest tag in your code.
Yes.
Always bind to a specific numbered version of a model, like GPT 5.5.
That is excellent advice. If you default to latest and OpenAI pushes a silent update or fundamentally changes the underlying architecture to this rumored 5.6, your entire product's logic could break overnight.
Just completely crash.
Because the model interprets prompts differently now. You have to build long-term roadmaps on confirmed bedrock, not leaked quicksand.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of confirmed bedrock, let's pivot to the companies that are actually executing in the gas pedal camp. Starting with what looks like, frankly, a silent divorce between Microsoft and OpenAI.
It really does.
Because Microsoft poured billions into OpenAI to use their models, But at the Build conference on June 2nd, the narrative completely changed.
The shift in tone was palpable. Microsoft didn't lean on GPT at all. Instead, they dropped 7 custom in-house models called MAI.
MAI.
Right, and the adoption numbers for their internal developer tools are staggering. Their Codex platform now has 5 million weekly users, but the vital metric is who those users are.
Oh, right.
Non-programmers, marketers, financial analysts, operations managers are adopting Codex 3 times faster than actual software engineers. They have connected it to 62 different business apps to run 110 automated workflows.
The democratization of coding is fully here. You don't need to know Python anymore. You just need to know how to ask for what you want. But I'm curious about the efficiency of these new MAI models. You look at MAI Code 1 Flash, which now runs entirely inside GitHub Copilot. The spec sheet says it uses 60% fewer tokens.
Yes.
How does a model do the exact same job while using less than half the brain power?
It comes down to semantic filtering. Older models read every single line of code, including the formatting, the spaces, the repetitive boilerplate language.
Stuff that doesn't really matter.
Exactly, and they process it equally. MAI Code 1 Flash is trained to strip away the noise before it even thinks. It identifies only the core logical operators and ignores the syntax fluff.
Oh, that's smart.
By compressing the input to just the raw mathematical logic, it uses 60% less compute power. That mechanically means it is vastly cheaper for Microsoft to operate at scale. And they are openly naming Anthropic, not OpenAI, as their primary rival in these keynotes.
Wow. Okay, well, Google isn't sitting on the sidelines either. They dropped Gemma 4. And this completely changes the calculus for local consumer-level hardware. Gemma 4 is a 12 billion parameter model. Normally, a model with a brain that size requires massive cloud server racks.
Yeah, huge infrastructure.
But Google got it running entirely locally on a standard laptop with just 16 gigabytes of RAM. Why is that parameter to RAM ratio such a breakthrough?
Because it solves the memory bottleneck. Usually loading 12 billion weights, the neural connections of the AI into a standard laptop's RAM will instantly crash the machine.
Right.
Google is using incredibly aggressive quantization. Imagine taking a massive overstuffed suitcase and vacuum sealing it until it shrinks to a fraction of the size. The clothes are all still there, but they take up less space. That's what they did to the model's parameters.
And it uses a new encoder-free architecture for audio, right?
Yeah.
From my understanding, older voice assistants, they have to listen to your voice, transcribe it into text, read the text, formulate a text reply, and then run that text through a synthesizer to speak back to you.
Which is incredibly slow.
Yeah, it's clunky.
Exactly the problem. Encoder-free architecture eliminates the translation step. It's the difference between a tourist constantly flipping through a translation dictionary to understand a sentence versus a native speaker who just intuitively understands the meaning of the sound. The AI processes the audio waveform directly as raw data.
Which perfectly sets up what Perplexity is doing. They just hit a $20 billion valuation.
Incredible.
While actively fighting massive copyright lawsuits from CNN, the New York Times, and Reddit, which, by the way, we'll save for another deep dive. But they revealed a hybrid system with the Windows personal computer agent. It basically acts like a highly intelligent traffic cop.
Right.
If I ask it to analyze my sensitive medical records, it processes that locally on my laptop. But if I ask it to render a complex 3D physics simulation, it quietly routes the heavy lifting to the cloud.
The architecture of the future is hybrid. What we are witnessing is privacy transitioning from a flimsy promise in a terms of service agreement.
That nobody reads.
Exactly. Nobody reads it into an automatic structural feature. By running models like Gemma 4 locally, you completely neutralize the risk of your sensitive data being intercepted in transit, or quietly scraped to train the next generation of cloud models.
For the listener, this is a massive strategic shift. On-device, AI used to mean you got the dumbed-down, heavily restricted version of the tool. Not anymore. If your firm handles legal contracts, high-pay-compliant health data, or sensitive financials, you can now deploy a frontier-level model locally. You get the intelligence without paying for cloud compute, and you maintain complete custody of your data.
But if we follow this push for localized personal hardware to its extreme end, we arrive at the most polarizing leak of the week. Let's examine the internal memos from Meta regarding their new consumer hardware push.
Ah, yes. The Meta AI neck pendant.
Building on their acquisition of the ambient computing startup Limitless, Meta is reportedly in the advanced stages of developing an always-on microphone pendant that hangs around your neck. It continuously listens, transcribes, and creates a perfectly searchable memory of your entire day. And we cannot dismiss this as a fringe gadget. Meta currently controls 73% of the smart glasses market. They have sold 7 million pairs of their AI-enabled Ray-Bans. They are projecting to ship 10 million wearable devices in the second half of this year alone.
That's massive distribution.
They possess the manufacturing and distribution pipeline to make an always-on microphone a ubiquitous cultural fixture.
Okay, I am going to be the dissenting voice here because I actually love the convenience of this.
Really?
Yes. Think about the daily friction this eliminates. You walk out of a chaotic, hour-long strategy meeting, and you don't have to scramble to write down your action items, depend or to categorize them. You're brainstorming at lunch, someone drops a brilliant idea, and it isn't lost to the ether. Having a perfect searchable index of your own life right on your chest. That is an undeniable superpower.
It is a superpower for the individual wearing it.
No.
An absolute privacy nightmare for everyone else in the room. This is where I strongly push back.
Okay, lay it on me.
Previous attempts at ambient computing, like the Humane AI pin or the Rabbit R1, they failed because the technology was clunky and the latency was terrible. But if Meta succeeds in making this seamless, we are looking at a massive societal disruption. You are talking about passively recording individuals who did not consent continuously in every space you occupy.
But wait, everyone already carries a smartphone with a microphone in their pocket. We have smart speakers in our kitchens. How is a pendant fundamentally different?
It is the difference between active and passive recording. A smartphone requires an active physical choice to pull it out and hit record, or a deliberate wake word to activate a voice assistant. A pendant that defaults to always on fundamentally changes the psychology of human interaction.
How so?
It introduces an immediate chilling effect. Are you going to vent to a coworker by the water cooler if you know their necklace is transcribing your complaints into a cloud-synced searchable database?
I mean, probably not.
Consent is going to become an unavoidable daily friction point. If this device scales, corporate espionage rules, standard workplace etiquette, and two-party consent recording laws are going to face an immediate, massive overhaul.
Okay, yeah, I see the friction. If you have to pause every conversation in an elevator to ask if people mind being transcribed by your jewelry, the social contract breaks down pretty fast.
Exactly.
So with all these hardware bets and software leaps, who is the market actually rewarding? To answer that, we looked at Polymarket, where individuals were putting millions of dollars of their own money on the line to predict these outcomes.
Betting markets are incredibly useful because they violently cut through the PR spin.
Yeah, they don't care about the press releases.
Right. When real money is at stake, the market heavily favors Anthropic. They currently hold an 83% chance to possess the universally recognized best model by the end of June. And they have a staggering 93% chance to retain the crown for the best coding model.
Though it's a split decision financially, OpenAI still commands an 83% chance to hit a $1 trillion valuation by the end of the year. So Anthropic is winning the capability war, but OpenAI is still holding its ground in the valuation war.
However, those market valuations feel almost trivial if we connect this to the bigger picture. We have to talk about our final source for today.
The letter.
The letter. The CEOs of OpenAI, Anthropic, and Microsoft, three fierce, bitter rivals, just set aside their competitive differences to issue a joint public warning directly to Congress.
Yes, the letter about biological weapons. They're officially asking the U.S. government to mandate the screening of synthetic DNA. Why? Because the very models they are building are making the design of custom pathogens terrifyingly easy.
Yep.
We're moving far past AI generating clever phishing emails. Security researchers recently demonstrated an AI worm that operates with complete autonomy. Now, I understand how a traditional computer worm spreads, but how does an AI worm differ mechanically?
A traditional worm follows a static set of instructions. If it hits a firewall it doesn't recognize, it fails and stops.
Right.
An AI worm utilizes an adaptive problem-solving loop. It encounters a novel security firewall, fails to breach it, analyzes the failure data, rewrites its own exploit code to target a different vulnerability, and tries again.
It's actively hacking.
It learns and mutates as it spreads. Now, apply that level of adaptive intelligence to synthetic biology, the ability to digitally design a pathogen and then send that code to a commercial lab to be physically printed. The risk profile of the human race shifts overnight.
Which brings this entire deep dive full circle. It proves that the break camp from segment 1 Anthropic calling for a pause is not merely playing a game of regulatory capture. The safety risks are actively leaving the digital realm and bleeding into physical security.
The stakes have escalated from digital inconvenience to existential physical threats.
Wow. We have covered a massive amount of ground today, from recursive coding to localized memory pendants. Let's synthesize this into concrete strategic actions you can take this week based on the sources. First, protect your software infrastructure. Pin your API versions.
Yes, crucial.
Do not rely on the generic latest tag, or your product will inevitably break when a Phantom update goes live. Bind your architecture to a stable, numbered release like 5.5.
Second, audit your workflows for automation. Pick one manual, repetitive task you execute every single week, whether that is data entry, report synthesis, or code review, and hand it over to an agent like Codex or Copilot as a pilot test. Non-programmers are already scaling their output. You cannot afford to manually do what can be automated.
Third, rethink your data custody. If your business handles sensitive legal, medical, or financial data, look into deploying Google's Gemma 412b locally on your own hardware. The era of sacrificing security to access frontier-level AI is over. And finally, always verify the source. When the internet explodes over a leaked model like GPT-5.6, check for a published system card before you pivot your business strategy. Don't build your future on a vanished log file.
This week, AI showed us both of its extremes live on stage. The exact same company pushing the gas pedal to the floor is begging the world to find the brake. The question for you to mull over isn't who is right. The question is whether anyone is actually sitting behind the steering wheel.